Right, 12 victories and 37 points is Arsenal's best ever record, 14 games into a season. It's also Man City's best start to a season in 4 years. Arsenal are 5 points ahead of them, and it's Spurs' best start to a season. Arsenal are 8 points ahead of them with a game in hand. So, can this be their season? Let's ask a man who scored 108 goals for the Gunners. A very, very good morning to former England and Arsenal, and now Southampton winger Theo Walcott. Good morning, Theo.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Morning, Theo.
I can't see you guys this morning. You're in Doha already, are you?
No, I promise. Wait, where are you? Are you on Zoom somewhere and we haven't got you up?
I think so. Somewhere, yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, we look exactly the same, and it's not very pretty at this time in the morning, especially me and Ray have been here since 5 a.m. Tim actually looks all right.
Thank you.
He looks fine. All right, Theo.
He's got to do till 12, though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Arsenal. Do you mind, Theo? Can we start with it?
Of course, as always, yes. Arsenal... Yeah, what can I say? Top of the league. Going into Christmas. Obviously, we played them recently as well. We managed to get a point off them, but just got to get that one in there. We actually grew into the game, to be honest. I think Arsenal, they had a lot of chances in the first half. I remember particularly. In the second half, they just keep the ball so well. They starve you off the ball now, and I just feel like they've got players that are just hungry, that want to do well, and actually now accepting that Arsenal should be sort of challenge for titles, and I feel like you can see there's a continued sort of, everyone's just seems to be getting more and more confident at each game now. And like you said before in the show, Martinelli, which I've been impressed with from day one. He had a bit of a big injury when he first come, but he's just obviously getting into that Brazilian squad is not easy. So you got to give credit to him.
Theo, I've got to ask you, we're just watching on Sky Sports all the guys getting on the coach, going down to the airport, going to Qatar, looking forward to the World Cup. But the players left at home. Now, you'll be in that scenario at the moment. What is the plan? What have you got a few weeks off, or you got a week off, or do you go away yourselves, or what are you guys going up to?
No, I'm not going to go away anywhere, just the fact the kids are at school. So, so that's we don't really want to take them out of school, which is fine. So I've got a few things I want to be able to do, but we've got programs that we've got to stick to. And obviously now the new manager, Nathan Jones, is very hard working. So we've got to make sure that we are ready to go. But I feel like it's a very challenging moment for a lot of players that aren't going. Just the fact that, normally at tournament football, it's at the end of the season and you get that time off. So when you have that time off, you switch off completely. I think it's important to switch off, of course, mentally, but you need to, obviously, I feel like because there's a bit more of a break still. So we have 2 weeks away on your own, do what you got to do. And then we actually have a pre-season. So for me personally, it's a bit of another pre-season for me because I actually missed the pre-season before due a small little injury. So I'm using it as an opportunity just to build on what I'm building on right now. And obviously it's going to be a really big challenge for obviously us Saints coming back towards the Christmas period.
Yeah. What's the new manager like?
Yeah. Do you know what? Obviously it's only been a few days, the coaching staff as well, but there's a connection already, I feel, with the coach and the player and the players. And I think that's really important. And it will take time, of course, but to some extent we don't really have time now. So hence why everyone needs to make sure they do their programs and come back fully fit, because I've heard a lot about Nathan Jones' work, and it's very hard work and very demanding. He asks a lot of you, but you got to be ready for it, and you got to be ready for the fight. And obviously, of course, we've got a lot of young players that are still sort of trying to figure out the Premier League, which is fine. And I feel like they're going to have to sort of skip a few pages in the book to obviously come up to play in the Premier League right now.
It's been quite an interesting season so far, isn't it? It does feel strange to stop it now and take a month off and then pick it up on Boxing Day. But in terms of what we're seeing, there's a few surprises. Newcastle as well. How shocked have you been with them?
To be honest, I'm not really too shocked. The fact being, just looking at it on the outside, because obviously I don't really know what's going on at the club, but it just feels there's a really good feel factor around the whole place. With Eddie Howe particularly, I feel like he's a sort of man, a person that any player in any league would want to play for. I just get that impression. I don't know him well, but just looking at him on the outside, I feel like he's that sort of person who has a lot of time for not just the player, the person, which I think is really important as well in sport in general, really. Just feel that's how you get the best out of players. And it's a big club, a great fan base. And of course, they've got players that are already there that are improved and are just enjoying playing their football. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like at times a lot of players tend to put a lot of pressure on themselves for they need to do this, need to do that. But if you go out there and enjoy it, I always tell young children and kids, just enjoy being out there playing with your mates. And they don't really think about it then. And then they play with freedom. And I feel like Newcastle right now, there's no reason why they can't go on to continue this, because obviously they have once a week games as well. They haven't got any Europe or anything to deal with, which is, going to be really interesting. So I'm intrigued really to see how they get on, because it's such a massive football club.
Theo, I've got to ask you about Jude Bellingham, a young player. He should be in that midfield starting lineup, hopefully. But you, as a young lad, wasn't you, when you travelled many years ago? Not too long ago, Theo, but quite a while ago. How do you feel as a young player? I mean, you was about 17, wasn't you, when you went with the squad?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a fan of saying like young players and stuff like this. I was a kid who didn't actually feature at all in any leagues. Championship. Didn't play in the Premier League. Jude's a bit of an exception, I'd say. He's played in the Champions League. Very different. He's played in the Champions League at such a young age. He's been exposed, but playing. I never really was playing in the Premier League, and I was exposed to the World Cup, and it just sort of, I was like a rabbit in headlights, to be honest, a little bit. And it was scary. It was. And the fact it was more scary for the fact that my wife Mel right now, who was followed by paparazzi continuously. I don't think it really happens anymore. And that was just so surreal. It's my wife who's just at college, not even that, and just coming out of school and then getting followed everywhere and people just taking pictures and stuff like this. But now I feel like, it's what I like right now with the England team. They are sort of taking in the media side of it. They want everyone to be involved, and it's like you're there with them now, which I think is really important. You want to be in that whole journey with the World Cup for them. And I think Jude is an exception. I think he's a future captain as well. I know there'll be a bit of a competition between him and Declan Rice. But to be honest, I would argue we've probably got two of the best midfield players going into this tournament. I just hope they are, had a small but short break, but just switch off. But they're going to have to be right at it, because around they're no nugs really. It's going to be a very interesting challenge. I always feel like the first game in any tournament football is always surprises, but with the quality we got going forward, which I want to see, I feel like we can just outscore many teams.
Theo, put yourself in a manager's chair now. Pick your front three for England to start the World Cup.
Front three, okay, because I'm a fan of a four at the back, so I'll go so three. It's got to be Saka, Kane, and I love Saka, Kane, and I'm going to go for Sterling. I know, obviously, right now I just feel like he's always done so well in an English shirt. I know there's a lot of players playing in form like Rashford and people like this. Mm-hmm. It's a game where you could try these people, but I feel like in the first game you want to have people with experience in tournament football, and those three, I know Saka's a bit more inexperienced, but he's just top quality. And I would play Maddison behind Kane. I'm that big fan of him, so I'm so pleased he's gone.
It's a lot easier to pick your front three than your back four, yeah?
So currently, obviously Kyle's not fit, is he? Kyle Walker, I don't think, for the first game. So, no, back four, I would probably, I'll go Trippier. I think Trippier on the right has been absolutely fantastic. I know Trent's obviously playing for Liverpool, and he's an incredible talent. But yeah, I'll go Trippier. I just feel like he's a leader back there. I'd probably go for Stones as well. Stones, left back Shaw. And then
this is the big one.
Well, I always feel like we all know what he's going to do, but I would probably play someone. Oh God, guys, I can't do it. I'll probably
go on, say it.
Say it. Do you know what? I'll go Ben White.
I love that you said that.
Do you know why? I just think he's
Arsenal biased on us.
No. Yeah, no. My reason being, he's at the top of the league. He's so confident right now. He's in an England squad, and he deserves to be. And he can also play on the right hand side. But I think he's a very good centre back, and he's got pace. And I feel like we need pace at the back, especially when you get further in this tournament. The quality players you're going to be facing against. It says it all. But I just feel like the first game, something like that, just to get everyone a bit excited. But it won't be that.
Can I ask as well, obviously dominating the pages and the newspapers, every TV you turn on this morning as well, and yesterday is Cristiano Ronaldo and his interview that he did with Piers Morgan. What did you make of it as a current player?
Yes, obviously, you can't not miss it. Even my dog's seen it, I think. It's very difficult. I feel like being a player who, is at an age where, you want to contribute, of course, but not knowing that you're going to play every single game. But I'm not saying I compare myself to Cristiano Ronaldo, because Cristiano Ronaldo for me has been one of the most outstanding players that I've ever seen in this generation, obviously with Messi. But he's obviously got to move. for me, he's obviously got something already that he's planning to do, and I just feel it's a shame. It's that legacy that people are just going to remember this now. It's like when I think of Zidane, I always think of the headbutt. I don't know what it is. And I feel like now with Ronaldo, what he's done here, he's obviously exposed himself before the World Cup. He's put it all about him, which is what Cristiano does, which is why he's been so good for so many years. And he'll thrive going to this World Cup now because people will be talking about him and people will be expecting him to shine, and he probably will because that's what Ronaldo does. But yeah, I'm as a current player, and if you're that outspoken, especially whilst you're still playing at the football club, it's very difficult for players to then, I'm not saying not to respect him, but it's very difficult to then play with him on a football field. You can train with him, be professional on that side of it, but to trust him on a football field is a different story. So. And I've obviously seen the Bruno Fernandes handshake, but I wouldn't really look too much into that. He's probably just not seen him. Maybe, I don't know.
Do you think so?
No, I'm just being really polite.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was definitely very frosty.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I could probably understand because we were talking about it earlier on. It's going to cause problems for the World Cup squad as well because now the whole focus is going to be on that.
Do you know, it's always normally the French squad, and that's been pretty quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Portugal this year, so all eyes on them. It's a lot of pressure, and of course, it could well be Ronaldo's last World Cup, so he wants to go out really, on the high. We'll see.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.